does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to check out Attack on Titan: The Last Stand from Cryptozoic. This is for 2 to 5 players. Take, I don't know, about 30 minutes to play. And it's probably for ages 14 plus. And in Attack on Titan: The Last Stand, you are going to be playing through Attack on Titan, which is a popular anime series. That's not what attracted my attention to this game, though. One of the creators is Antoine Bauza, one of my favorite game designers of all time. This is a one versus all game in which one player is going to take control of the Titan and try and destroy cannons or crush their opponents, while likewise the other players are going to be trying to scale the Titan, climb up his body, stab him, shoot him with cannons, and hopefully kill him. What am I talking about? Is it good? Let's open it up and I'll tell you what I think. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Attack on Titan: The Last Stand. So first and foremost, we got a handy dandy rule booklet. It is 10 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's very well done. The only issue that I would have with the rule booklet is the fact that it doesn't clearly tell you how to assemble the tower over here or this guy. I mean, you'll figure it out, but we had to look at the back of the box. It's only an issue the very first time you play, because after that, I mean, you'll know what you're doing, but still, it would have been nice if they would have held your hand a little bit more. So in Attack on Titan, you are going to be playing either as the Titan, because this is a one versus all game, or playing as people trying to kill the Titan. The Titan is going to be over here. And as you can see, I'm having a hard time getting it all in camera because it is 15 inches tall. This thing is a beast. But you're going to be trying to climb up his different levels, which will be these right here, stab him with swords, shoot him with cannons, and kill him before he kills you or he eats all the citizens. What am I talking about? Let's show you the components, and then we'll get into the gameplay. So first and foremost, we'll get some of the big stuff out of the way. You can play as 4 different types of Titan: Destructive, Basic, Deviant, and Voracious. Each one is going to have their own unique special abilities that they'll get when they roll, when you roll skulls, and I'll talk more about that later. And each one is going to have his own unique deck of cards, and so each one is going to play different, and you're going to want to try all the different ones to see which one you like the best. And I will say some are better at smaller player counts, some seem a little bit better at the higher player counts, but I'll talk more all about that later. So we'll just pick the Deviant one for now, and we'll put all the rest of them to the side. So right out of the gate, you're going to be getting a good deal of variety. Next, you are going to get a character. So the people on the other team are going to pick one of the characters. And there's lots of characters in this game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is a good deal of characters. And each one has their own unique special ability. So she's going to be able to climb up and down a little bit faster because each ninja turns into 2 ninjas, which is how you're going to climb up his levels. This one may use his fight as a tactic symbol and vice versa. Very, very useful. It's going to make sure you pretty much always have defense you need. 1 sword into 2 swords. This one does not give the Titan her symbols, which is very useful because the Titan really uses those symbols. Hang's rolled cannon dice symbols can be used without Hang being on the tower. So this is a really big one as well, because the cannons, which are over here on this little contraption, are very, very powerful. They're going to be doing 2 damage to the Titan apiece. But as you can see, lots of different characters in the game, and you are going to pick one of them, and you're going to put 3 of these heart tokens on the character. If at any point you lose all your heart tokens, game over, the Titan has won the game. Also, if at any point the Titan destroys all 6 of the cannons over here on the tower, the Titan has won the game. Or if the Titan has eaten all 12 of the citizens over here, then the Titan has won the game. So there are going to be numerous different ways for the Titan to win. Now, on the flip side, if you're playing as one of these characters right down here, your only goal is to kill the Titan. And you're going to keep track of their health on this little track right here. So you'll start off pretty healthy, then to the weak zone, and then to the kill zone. And what you're like, why is there a yellow, why is there red? I can clearly see where the kill zone should be. That's because these colors correlate with some of these tactic cards, which are over here. So you're going to have different tactic cards, and these are a little bit hard and daunting when you're first looking at them, but once you know what you're doing, they're actually quite simple. So what this means is, if you would like to do what's in the upper left-hand corner, which in this case would be victory for the heroes, you're going to have someone on the 8th level of the Titan, and they are numbered, so all the way up here. And they're going to have 2 swords to spend. You're going to have someone on the 5th level, which would be over here, because this is the 3rd and the 5th level, and they have to have 2 cannons to shoot at him, and then he has to be in the kill zone already. But if you meet all 3 of those victory conditions, or 2 of them if you're playing a 2 or 3 player game, then you are going to immediately kill the Titan. Likewise, each hero recovers 1 heart token. So for this one, much easier to get. You have to turn in 2 of these grappling hooks, have 1 guy on the 2, 1 guy on the 1, and they both have to have a sword. So each of these will do various different things to the Titan or to you healing. So once again, a little bit more variability in the game. Last but not least, once you select your character, you're going to get your little standee. And it will look something like this. And this is what you're going to use to climb on top of the Titan. You're going to start off, and you can either start on the ground floor at 0, you can start at 3 over here, or 5 over here. So we'll just say she's going to start at 0, because her special ability is she does not have to be over here in order to fire the cannons. So she can be over here and use the swords and the cannons, because if you're over here, you can't use the swords, and normally if you're over here, you can't use the cannons. So let's run you through a mock turn, and you'll see exactly how it works. So the first thing that's going to happen is the Titan is going to select 2 of their cards they would like to play. And they're going to have 7 different cards, in front of them. And they will generally do bad things to the Titan. So remove 1 heart token from each hero on levels 3 and 5. So that one's probably not going to be very useful, because obviously there's nobody over there right now. Even though normally you would not just have 1 person over here. Remove 1 heart token from each hero on level 1, 2, and 4. That all is also not going to play. Move the top card of the tactics deck to the bottom. So for instance, if there was a tactic, which are these cards that you really didn't like, you can move it all the way to the bottom. Drop each hero on level 6, 7, and 8 down to level 0. Remove 1 citizen token and 1 heart token for each hero on level 0. So this seems like a really good one to play. Now let's run you through the anatomy of this card. So up here is what the card is going to do. However, it can be blocked by the other players, but in order to do that, each player who it affects is going to have to turn in 2 grappling hooks, which is a good deal of their things. Also, sometimes they will have little shields right here, which means any number of players, the players need a number of tactics equal to the numbers of heroes playing, which means if you're playing with 3 players or with 4 players, you would need 4 of these shields, but everyone can combine to do that. So you know what? We might just play this one, and you're going to play 1 face up and 1 face down. So I would play that one face down, and then I might just play... man, none of these are particularly good in the early game for this one. You know, maybe I don't like the tactics card, so I'll put that one right there. So I would play those 2 cards down, and that is what I would do as the Titan. Next, all the heroes are going to roll their dice, and each color of hero is going to have their own unique d6 dice. So let's take a look at these dice, and I'll show you the different symbols. So first, we have the sword. This is going to allow you to do 1 damage on the Titan by stabbing the Titan as long as you are over on this side and not over here with the cannons. Next, we have the little ninja. This is going to allow you to go up. So you start on 0, and then 1, then 2. So this is going to allow you to climb the Titan or potentially climb onto the guard tower over here. That's the ninja symbol. Next, we have the grappling hook. This is going to be used purely for defense. Also, there's a character who can turn this into wild, which is really powerful. But this is going to be used for personal defense. Next, we'll get to that one last. Next, we have the... Where in the world? We got the shield, which, as we talked a little bit about, is going to help cancel out potential Titan effects, like this one right here. And then last but not least... Oh, excuse me. We have the cannon, which will allow you to shoot a cannon as long as you are over here and can shoot off a cannon. The cannons do 2 damage, though, so they are very powerful. And then last, you're going to have the one that you never want to see yourself roll, which is the Titan face. So when you get Titan face, they are immediately locked into place. Otherwise, you can roll your dice as many times as you want. You can just roll and roll and roll and roll forever. However, if you get a Titan face, then you put that Titan face over here by the Titan. Once everyone is happy with their roll, the Titan is going to see how many Titan dice they have, and then they're going to look at their card and see what special abilities they can do. So for this particular character, this one, if he has 2 Titan faces, could heal himself 3. If he has 3 Titan faces, return an action card and play to your hand and then replace it. And if he has 5, place an action card from your hand into play face ups, which means you're going to play 3 action cards, which means you're going to be pretty difficult to deal with. Now, the deviant one right here is particularly better, in my personal opinion, with the larger groups when you're playing against a larger group, because being able to play that 3rd card can be very valuable. But we'll talk more about that in the pros and cons. So, Once I have assigned all my die faces and did all my special abilities as the Titan, I'm going to now give this dice back to the other players, and they will have one more opportunity to roll it and potentially get a symbol for them to utilize. Once they've done that, they're going to resolve the action cards. So at this point, I will be flipping this one up. Well, they'll see this one. We'll deal with it. Either they're going to block it or they will not block it, in which case, oof, that would happen. And then I flip this one up, and they're either going to block it or they're not going to block it. And what might happen will happen, depending on if they play enough defense. Now, these cards are going to go off to the side. I cannot use these two cards for the next round. However, the following round, I will be able to use these two cards. So it's got that sort of mechanism where generally, aside from the first round, you're always going to have 5 cards to choose from on what you can utilize. Once that is done, then the other players will finally be able to use their dice they have accrued. They're going to be climbing up the Titan, they're going to be stabbing me, shooting me with cannons, and doing stuff like that. Once that's done, we're going to reset for the next round. They're going to get all their dice back. You can't save dice from round to round to round, and you're going to rinse, wash, and repeat. You're going to go until either the Titan is dead, all the citizens are dead, or one of the characters is dead, or all the cannons are dead, at which point either the Titan or the players will win the game, and that, in a nutshell, is how Attack on Titan, The Last Stand, is played. Alrighty then, Attack on Titan, The Last Stand from Cryptozoic. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side. Game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. While it is a light enough game that families could play it, I think that the theme and the artwork is really going to turn some people off. And some people are just going to feel uncomfortable having a 15-foot giant naked man on their table. Now, obviously, they took away his genitalia, so it looks even weirder. He looks like a Ken doll, kind of. But still, that's going to be a turnoff to some people. Now, gameplay-wise, one comment I noticed with this game, and everybody noticed with this game that played it at different player counts, was it just didn't feel the same at different player counts. In particular, at 2 and 3 players, it is very difficult for the Titan to win. You're just not getting enough of those symbols. Also, some of the 4 different decks, the Deviant and the Destructive and, the Basic, some of those play better at higher player counts, some of those play better at lower player counts, and some of these you're like, man, none of these cards are really going to help me right now. And you will run into that situation where like, I just don't foresee any of these cards really helping me. And part of the problem is just in the lower player count, if the non-Titan characters pick certain characters, it's going to be really difficult for you to win because those cannons, man, those cannons are extremely powerful. And if you can shoot 3 cannons on one turn, especially if you're the character that can shoot cannons even when you're not on the cannon spot, you're going to be dealing 6 damage. That's half of your health almost. That's a lot of damage there. It just did not feel as balanced as I would like it to from player count to player count to player count. So that is something that you're going to want to take into consideration. Any other cons I have with the game? You know, the theme out there, not my personal cup of tea. The gameplay, what I mentioned with the different player counts. Oh, the rule booklet, this is a very minor nitpick. The rule booklet is well done and will have you up and running pretty smoothly. It's just you're going to have to look at the back of the box to figure out how to assemble this, or maybe it's just me because I'm a moron. But anywho, moving on to the pros, did I enjoy the game? Attack on Titan. I did. I think it's a fun 1 versus all game. And what I really like about this game is most of the time when you think about a 1 versus all game, you think of like a 2-3 hour experience, a meaty, heavy experience where you're going to have to sit down and learn a lot of rules. That's not this game. I feel like Antoine Bauza and Ludovic Maublanc were going to try and make a shorter 1 versus all game. And I feel like for the most part they did succeed at that. Because I will say, even though it felt unbalanced at 3 players, we sat there and we played 4 games in a row of this 3 players because, you know, the first game took us about 30 minutes, but after that it was just like churning those out really super fast. This is a very short game, which I think is going to be a turn on for a lot of people. It is the kind of game where once you get done playing it, you're going to want to immediately do it to play as a different Titan or play as a different character or do something a little bit different, and I like that aspect. I also like the fact there's a good deal of variability. There's 4 different Titans, there's 8 different characters. Each of the Titans has their own different set of cards. There's just a lot of variability in this game. I like how those, what are they called, the strategy cards work, where you have to get to certain spots on the Titan and you have to have certain things on the die roll. That's really interesting, but the Titan can see that as well, so they kind of know what you're planning. I will say I liked it best at the higher player counts. I absolutely 100% liked it best at the higher player counts because I thought it was better balanced. and I thought that the Titan had more of a shot to win the game. But that being said, I still liked it at the lower player counts, even though it wasn't as balanced as I like, which is really saying something about the gameplay in the game. It's easy to learn, it's easy to teach. If you like the theme, like if this theme attracts you, this is a very easy recommendation for me. If you're on the theme, this is still a recommendation. It is a nice, light filler game, and this does not look like a filler game at first glance, but I assure you, it actually is pretty much a filler game. It's easy to get out to the table and teach everybody in like 5 or 6 minutes. The cooperative nature of the game lends itself to that as well. So overall, Attack on Titan: The Last Stand is one that I definitely enjoyed. I can recommend. I hope in the future, maybe they release some more characters or some more things that are specifically for 2 or 3 players or 4 or 5 players to make it slightly more balanced. But as is, it is still an enjoyable, even though slightly flawed game. That is Attack on Titan: The Last Stand, one that I enjoy and for the time being is going into my collection. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below. In the comments below, let me know, Attack on Titan: The Last Stand, the TV show. Do you enjoy it, the anime series? For me personally, I've never seen it. I don't have Netflix tier. No one's ever given me a password for it. And I have Amazon Prime, so it's like I don't need 2 streaming services, and I really like the shipping, so that's why I went with Amazon Prime over Netflix, even though I would eventually love to get Netflix just because they have all the Disney stuff on there and my kids are getting older. But I'm going off on a rant here. Attack on Titan, do you dig it? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.